today is International Day of Peace. Now, despite several efforts towards peace building, the world has continued to experience conflicts on different scales and across different levels of human endeavor, inflicting pain and misery on humanity. This is because conflict is part of human existence. But how best can conflict be managed in a world plagued by poverty, inequality, among other related issues? With ethno-religious intolerance, injustice, lack of economic development at the front burner, Nigeria has continued to experience conflict in different forms. To discuss this, we have joining us S. Charles Odenigbo. Well, good morning, and it's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Now, today is International Day for Peace, and we would like to get perspectives on some of the feats that have been recorded as far as peace building is concerned at the international level and also at the local level here in Nigeria. As far as, talking about cessation of hostilities and violence, where are we at the moment?
Looking at the world level, the United Nations made effort 1981 to introduce Peace Day, a day for peace across the world, so that different countries in conflict situations and crisis situations could cease fire and maybe take a breather and find out if they can really create an environment of peace. By 2001, this had become a serious day that all countries in the world are now began to observe. And here we are today. I think today marks how many years? That will be giving us close to 4 or 5 decades now. About 4 decades now that this Peace Day came into being. The question is, in those 4 decades, what will we say the world has achieved? In the last 4 decades, we have experienced unprecedented conflicts across the world. The Middle East, the Gulf states, the crisis conflict between Israel and Palestine and the rest of them over Gaza Strip has not abated at all. In fact, it has intensified. We have witnessed crises in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and a host of all those countries in Asia and the rest of them. In Africa, the story is worse. And you look at the crisis in Rwanda, you look at the genocide that took place in Rwanda. Can we be talking about peace with such things? You look at Sudan, the crisis in Sudan, the conflict in Sudan has not abated. You look at the crisis in different pockets of Africa, and you will notice that the concept of peace as a political word is something that is daunting for any nation or organization to attempt to deal with. Because you must understand context very well before you begin to deal with the issue of peace. And the constant context that creates tension that the world have failed to understand is that peace is a spiritual matter. Peace is something that only God can give a man, and that man must be in tune with his God. Peace is a fruit of the Spirit. It is not something you do with your power. It is not something you do by do's and don'ts. It is something that comes as a result of your relationship with the Almighty God.
Would you say that that's part of the reasons why some of the peace agreements and, signing of political agreements haven't yielded results in the past?
Like I told you, I said that if you follow the issue of peace, you will notice that it is a spiritual concept. And that, like you asked me now, it is part of the reason why efforts by several organizations have failed, several countries have failed. Because when you have peace, it does not mean that there is no trouble. When you have peace, it does not mean you are not owing your landlord or your workers or business is not having problems. You have peace because You are at peace with your maker. You are at peace in your spirit, your soul, and your body. And it helps you to be able to address whatever situation might be confronting you in a manner that you can surmount it, you can solve your problem. But when the person is not balanced, spirit, soul, and body, and you make effort to address crisis or conflict, you are definitely going to have problem promoting peace. Because peace promotion begins with understanding the issues that divide societies and people. And now you need to understand the power relations underpinning those divisions so that you can now begin to build blocks, models that you can use to address them. Has the United Nations succeeded? The answer is no. We have had peacekeeping forces in different parts of the world. Nigeria has participated in many peacekeeping projects of the United Nations. Peacekeeping is going on in Sudan. You have Ethiopian soldiers, you have Nepal soldiers, you have Pakistani soldiers, Indian soldiers, and a host of them helping to keep peace. You come to Nigeria, United Nations is trying to also help in the Northeast and a couple of them. The question is, these peacekeeping forces, have they succeeded?
Well, now we have seen, several efforts. Part of the reasons why some people have said that, look, why we're having more and more conflicts is because of the arms proliferation that we are experiencing. The United Nations, some years back, launched a campaign called Silencing the Guns. And but we have seen more people armed now than before, according to data showing that in Nigeria alone, we are talking about, millions of guns in the hands of unauthorized persons. The president gave an order some time ago that, look, shoot aside. Anyone carrying AK-47, shoot the person aside. How much of results have we seen?
We are back to where I began. In our introductory part of this program, we looked at the world scenario, and we discovered that the issue of peace have eluded the United Nations, have eluded America, United States of America. The recent movement of the troops out of the Afghans, the Afghanistan experience of United States of America tells you that it is something that is nebulous. Anybody trying to address peace physically from the physical realm is going to face failure from beginning. So if you look at arms proliferation and the rest of them, before the world got to where it got to today, we have always known that one of the basic things of every human being, one of the basic needs of any human being, apart from shelter, apart from food, is security. And human beings over time have attempted to produce weapons that they will use to defend themselves. Number one, in case of animals attacking them or other tribes attacking them, or they use weapons or equipment to go and hunt or provide food for themselves. So you will notice that with that formation of security for human being, over time the weapons have become more and more sophisticated. Not only because they want to fight war, but for self-defense. A man that knows that he is capable of being attacked will look for means of defending himself. And now you come to Nigeria, over 30 to 50 million small arms are in circulation. There was a time one man imported a container load of equipment, of weapons, guns and the rest of them in this country. The story died down when DSS arrested him. What happened to the container, we do not know. Now, if you say shoot at sight anybody carrying AK-77, in some media, I have addressed this issue as a lawyer. And the president means well because we are facing serious crisis. But has it abated? No. Instead, what we have witnessed is that it has escalated beyond even the understanding of the government. Now, the armed forces of Nigeria is always called upon to help Nigeria in the face of all these crises to bring about peace in every society. Now, you will notice that the cause of all these conflicts or crises are simply ideological. They are things you mentioned. Poverty is a state of mind. Ideology is a belief, is a fundamental belief. Can the bullet of police or the army kill an idea in a man's head? No. These ideas have been transmitted to other people. Children have watched things. They've grown in societies where they see ideas transferred from one generation to another. So they are carrying a lot of baggages in their heads. Now, how many bullets do you need to kill it? So you need to, first of all, understand the context within which human beings are agitated or are in crisis or are in conflict situations. They may not...
So let me just cut you there. Now, in the case of Nigeria,
yes,
in the context of what we are looking at, some have said we have the issues of injustice as part of reasons why we're seeing this kind of conflicts here and there. Where does it seem like we are heading when it comes to issues of injustice and loss of confidence by people on the state, when you begin to hear state governments themselves say that people should defend themselves and all of that? Where does that leave Nigerians?
We have reached a level where our political elites, who are the perpetrators of the conflict context, of the crisis in situation, they are the beneficiaries. They use it to come into power. You and I will sit down in a place, watch film, discuss, watch football, and there is no quarrel between you and I. An Ibira man or Ibira lady and a Kanuri lady, they will sit down together, they will discuss, they will enjoy themselves. There will be no crisis. Now, where is it that the crisis come from? Why is it that we have the 6 geopolitical zones having different issues? It is because the leaders have created a scenario by which they came into power. Now, when they got into power, they did not address the crisis that they left behind them. Now, this crisis have snowballed into crisis situation or conflicts, and they do not know how to handle what they have created for us. And then the media is also reporting what is happening, and different people are communicating. Now, in your communication, you have to be sensitive. We call the Northeast insurgency and terrorism. We go to the Northwest, we call it armed banditry. We come to Southwest, we call it dangerous crime, organized crimes. And now we have within the Southwest agitation for separate Oduduwa Republic. You go to the Southeast, you have agitation for Biafra state, separatist agitation, IPOB and the rest of them. You go to the South, you have militancy, pipeline vandalism and the rest of them. You come to the North Central, you have more of the issue of herders, farmers, crisis. And so then you now have terrorists recruiting young persons, innocent young persons to indoctrinate them. And then you have the media nationwide reporting all of these things. The media cannot cook up stories. The media will only report what is going on and what is happening. The question then is, what are we communicating to the society? There is need to understand the conflict-sensitive communication component for you to deal with the issue of peace in human beings. Then you need to understand the conflict-sensitive approaches or actions that need to be taken. The question is, if you brandish injustice, is it social justice you are looking at or legal justice? Legal justice is always obtained. Social justice is the missing link. And social justice is the responsibility of the government, the executive, and the National Assembly to provide social justice through legal legislation and policies. Are they doing it? They are not doing it.
So what do we need to do now in terms of approach? Looking at both the military and the angle of the social angle of solving this problem.
Now,
talking about kinetic and non-kinetic.
When you come to all those non-kinetic, kinetic, they are simply English words that the local man does not even know what you are talking about. Now, the armed forces is the only institution in Nigeria that is not divided. That is why Nigeria has not failed as a state. When you come to determine when a state has failed, you will first of all check, is the military divided? The armed forces of Nigeria is united. There is no crisis within the armed forces. The judiciary in Nigeria has been perverted by the political elites. They've destroyed it. You go to election petition tribunals, you go to pre-election matters, the judiciary has been compromised by the political elites. Are you following me? Then you come to the executive aspect of the country. It is in a mess, in shambles right now. It doesn't know what to do. You go to the National Assembly. Nigerians perceive the National Assembly as the most insensitive institution in the country. They do not know how to communicate to Nigerians. They do not know how to legislate in a way that will be perceived as acceptable to every part of Nigeria. The legislations are always skewed. You look at the Electoral Act amendment, Nigerians are not happy with it, but the National Assembly does not know how to communicate in a sensitive manner that they can calm the people down. Now, the media is even the worst among all of them, because the media does not understand standard of practice across different institutions and how they operate. Nigeria has never been more divided than we are today. And the only institution that is still standing is the military. And so what does the military need to do? The military is the one that has to begin to communicate in a manner that Nigerians can understand them. Because Nigerians no longer understand other institutions. And so you have people going to fight for themselves, defending themselves, insurgency, herders, farmers, crisis, because they don't know what to do anymore. And the Nigerian police force is bereft of ideas completely. So we need to go back to our communications first and foremost. We must learn how to speak and by avoiding hate speech. We must learn how to speak by avoiding dangerous speech. We must learn how to emphasize facts. Is the media emphasizing fact? Because whichever way you look at it, media reports bandits, media report terrorists, media projects carries all the video that goes viral. It's the media, whether social or the conventional ones. I'm coming. You avoid labeling. We label Fulani, Fulanization, Islamization. It's labeling. Now, all these things are things that are perceived in the mind, and it does not allow the Nigerian person to have peace any longer. Very few Nigerians can sleep with their eyes closed. The man that said he can sleep with two eyes closed were abducted by bandits recently, one of the senators from the South. You have to respect culture. We do no longer respect culture in Nigeria. We have to be gender sensitive in anything that we are doing. We have to be socially inclusive. We have a minority dominating the majority, and the majority feels excluded, so it becomes to your tent, O Israel. Then you have the issue of bridge building. These are basic things that we need to understand in the language. It is about language of construction. How do you perceive somebody? How do you perceive this situation? The appointments in Nigeria, they are perceived to be skewed towards one side of this country. So we are divided along north and south. We don't see ourselves as a Zaria boy, a Jebu, coming, the Kaba, the Ibira, the Igala, the Idoma, the Igede. We just lump it up as north and south. But that is not our problem. Our problem is that we have been divided by the political elites who are benefiting from the conflicts and the crises that we are facing.
So in 1 minute, what would be your message to Nigerians now that we have identified that, look, there's a whole lot of division, which is responsible for the lack of peace in the country? Yes. In 1 minute, what are your expectations from Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians? We don't have well-meaning Nigerians anymore. We need to, first of all, look out for credible, responsible, respectable Nigerians who can intervene. Where are they? Because we are facing hostility in Nigeria. We are facing prejudice in Nigeria. We are facing apartheid in Nigeria. We are facing ignorance in Nigeria.
Now, you are talking of well-meaning Nigerians. They don't exist because we need to first of all profile who is a well-meaning Nigerian. It is this well-meaning Nigerian, especially the armed forces of Nigeria, that can help in this situation, not with the bullet, but by changing hostility to what? To sympathy. The second thing we need to do is to change prejudice to what? To acceptance. Then the third level is to change apathy to what? To interest. And then finally, we change ignorance to knowledge. Okay. The moment we can change negative situations to positive situations, we can make progress as a country.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We've been speaking with Els Charles Odenigbo. He is the CEO of the Media Today International and also the former editor-in-chief, the Post Express newspaper. We appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, we'll go on a quick break, and then when we come back, we take a look at other dimensions of this discussion. Please stay with us.